Welcome to Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas. Today we're going to make a really easy and delicious Italian meal called pasta arrabbiata. And the sauce is actually a spicy sauce. The traditional recipe calls for garlic, tomatoes, dried red peppers, and olive oil. We're going to be using a lot of those ingredients in ours, plus I added a couple of extra things too to make it extra yummy. And we're also going to make some delicious Italian meatballs, which was my mom's recipe. The arrabbiata actually means in Italian angry. And I guess with the red pepper flakes, that's what gives it that name because of the spiciness. It's usually served with penne pasta too. So we're gonna make some meatballs along with it. We have some Italian bread. It's gonna be so good. So hope you stay tuned and let's learn a new recipe, so stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back, and let's go through some of the ingredients you're going to need. I'm going to start out with our meatballs, what you'll need for the meatballs. So you'll need for the meatballs 1 pound of ground beef. This is 90% lean, 10% fat. You're going to need approximately 1 whole white onion that you're going to chop up. You're going to need 1 egg. You're going to need, this is a 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese and a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese that's been finely cut. You're also going to need some Italian seasoning with it, salt and pepper, and super important is Italian breadcrumbs. I like to buy the Progresso breadcrumbs for my Italian meatballs. As far as the penne pasta, the arrabbiata pasta, of course you're going to need olive oil. I like to use extra virgin olive oil. We're going to need approximately 1/3 cup of that. And you're going to need some garlic cloves. Some people say garlic toes, garlic cloves, it's the same thing. This is a garlic bulb, in case you didn't know the correct terminology. So this is a bulb, and then part of a bulb are the toes. And you usually have like between 10 to 20 toes that could be in a garlic bulb. So basically you want to peel those apart. And once you have that, what you want to do is you can get a knife and just use the back of your knife and kind of smash it, but don't smash it hard, don't smash it all the way down because you do not want to release all those oils. Just enough, a little bit, just crack it, and then you can start peeling the outer layer, okay? And you want to take that outer layer off. So with our garlic cloves or garlic toes, I have approximately 20 here. We're going to be using 20 garlic toes for this dish. It has a lot of garlic in it. That's why I love it so much. All right, we're also going to use some crushed red pepper flakes. We're going to use some aroma tomatoes. You're going to use 1 can of crushed tomatoes, but you're also going to use some aroma tomatoes that we're going to thinly slice. You're also going to need some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, super important. You're also going to need some basil, a few basil leaves, fresh basil leaves, and you're also going to need some Italian parsley. I love the way the Italian parsley smells. We're going to be putting that Italian parsley into our meatballs and a little bit into our sauce. And that is about it. Salt and pepper, of course. So when we come back, we're going to get cooking, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're gonna make our meatballs first, and I'm gonna chop up my onions. Remember, this is approximately 1 whole onion, white onion, and I'm just chopping that up. You wanna chop it up very small because like my dad used to say, the finer the cut, or the smaller the cut, the finer the taste. So you don't want big chunks of onions in your meatballs. So I'm gonna chop that up. Okay, so I finished cutting up my onions. I'm going to open up my ground beef. Just gonna put it in this bowl here. I'm gonna add my onions. This is probably around 3/4 of a whole onion, finely chopped. That's how much I have left of the onion. And you're gonna put 1 egg, crack 1 egg in there. I'm gonna be putting my 1/4 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese and finely cut Parmesan cheese. And I'm adding approximately 1/4 of a cup of Italian parsley, a little salt and pepper, using some freshly ground black pepper, and then Italian breadcrumbs. And I just kind of like use probably about 1/4 of a cup of Italian breadcrumbs at first. Use your hands, so make sure you wash your hands. Your hands are washed. And you're just going to get your hand and squeeze into the meat mixture. This is exactly how my mom taught me how to do it. And you want to make sure everything gets well incorporated with each other. I want to also add a little bit of Italian seasoning. So I just do it enough to fill the top. Once again, use your hands and squeeze into that mixture. You want to make sure it's very well combined. Can you use a spoon? You could use a spoon, but my mom always used her hands, and I like using my hands. You can really get a feel for it. Plus, you're gonna have to use your hands anyway when you make the meatballs. All right, that looks very well combined. I like that. All right, let me wash my hands. Okay, so I'm going to start making my meatballs. I'm gonna move this to the side, hopefully you can see. And I'm just going to take a little bit of it. Now you might say, Doug, don't you also put garlic in it? Usually I do. I put some garlic, minced garlic in there, but this dish is gonna have so much garlic. So I'm just not gonna put the garlic into my meatballs on this. This is the size I like to make for my meatball. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just gonna keep making these, and then we're going to cook them up in some extra virgin olive oil. All right. Okay, so you get a skillet here, and I'm putting on my heat on a medium to low heat at first. And just to let you know that the meat mixture created or made 15 meatballs. So now I'm gonna get some extra virgin olive oil. Going to put enough oil at the bottom, kind of love it to cover the bottom. So just like that. So maybe about 3 tablespoons or so. And I'm gonna heat that oil up first. And like I said before, usually I would add a little garlic to the mixture. I also add garlic to the pan, but since this dish is gonna have so much garlic, I'm going to hold back on the garlic in the meatballs, okay? I'm gonna heat that up. Make sure that is at a nice temperature so when I put the meatballs in, it starts cooking. Okay, so I'm gonna add my meatballs now. Now, how long do you cook the meatballs? Well, you gotta make sure that it's brown on all sides and that there's no pink showing in the middle. Usually it takes around 20-25 minutes for it to be fully cooked. So I'm gonna cook these up, and when we come back, we're gonna start making our sauce, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's take a look and see how it's doing. Yum. Looks really good. It's going on 20 minutes. So I'm going to do a little test. And I want to make sure that there's no pink inside my meatballs. So I'm going to go with the largest one. And just take a look inside. So I can see a little bit of pink, a little bit more. So I'm going to let this cook just a little bit more, probably another 5 minutes, and test it again. While my meatballs are cooking, I am going to get my basil. This is fresh cut basil, and I'm just going to chop it up. Remember, when you chop, your fingers should always be pointing in. Never chop with your fingers out like that. So make sure your fingers are pointing inwards. And that basil smells so good. Just chopping that up. So it's probably about 3 to 4 basil leaves for this. And you want to chop it up very finely. Okay. We're going to be using that in our sauce. So once the meatballs are done, we're going to start on that delectable sauce, so stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. So my meatballs are done. I'm going to take them out of the pan here. And this took around 25 minutes. Remember, you always want to test it. Test your largest one, check the inside, and if you see there's no pink, then you know it is done. All right, so my meatballs are done. I'm gonna put that to the side. And you see all these drippings here? I'm actually gonna leave those drippings in there. This will make my sauce a little bit different. I'm going to add more extra virgin olive oil though. So right now I probably have, I'd say at least in here 1/3 of a cup. I'm gonna let that get warm, and I'm going to put my garlic toes in there and let that brown just a little bit. The pan looks ready. I'm gonna get my garlic toes, and I just chopped them up very coarsely. So I'm gonna put those in the pan. Get my wooden fork. I love using my wooden fork. Give that a stir. That garlic, oh my gosh, that smells so good. I'm just gonna cook this up just a little bit and let that get a little bit brown, get the garlic going, and then we're gonna add our Roma tomatoes. So remember, this was 3 Roma tomatoes that I basically cut very thinly, the best I could. If some are a little bit thicker than others, that's okay, doesn't matter. But you want to cut them thin. And I'm laying that right on top of the garlic. And I'm just going to let that cook a little bit. This is on a medium to low heat. It looks so pretty. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let this cook for approximately 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes. I'm going to check on my tomatoes, my Roma tomatoes. That garlic, oh, it smells so good. Okay. And you can see that your tomatoes are going to start to break up a little bit, and that's what you want. All right. So once you see that, I think it is ready for my crushed tomato sauce here. This is 28-ounce can. I'm going to use the whole thing. Give that a stir. You're kind of combining it with that garlic, those tomatoes, the drippings from the meatballs. It's all going to be combined, and we're going to season it with some salt and pepper. Okay, so I'm going to season it with a little salt and pepper. Probably around a teaspoon of each. Give that a stir. And then the crushed red pepper flakes. That's gonna give it that spiciness. I add one good amount of a teaspoon. You can add two depending on how spicy you like it. To add my basil. And my Italian parsley. Parsley is like around 1 tablespoon. I'm just gonna combine that. Give that a nice stir. I'm gonna give it a little taste right now. Good. Very good. Yeah, I could taste the red pepper flakes. So it's not too spicy, but like I said, if you want it to be spicier, you can add another teaspoon of those red pepper flakes. I'm gonna add just a little bit of sugar too. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Give that a nice stir. Give it another taste. That's good. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit more salt. And now, what you wanna do is you're going to add your pasta. This is your penne pasta. This pasta called for 11 minutes to be cooked, so I cooked it for 10. And I'm going to let the rest of it cook within the sauce. It's going to absorb all that sauce, and that's what you want. You want that pasta to absorb the sauce. Nice. All right, pasta Arrabiata. I'm going to let that cook for approximately 15 minutes covered. And then we're gonna give it a good taste test. 15 minutes. So I'm going to add just a little bit of oregano, dried oregano leaves, just like a little coating. And then also I'm gonna add some Italian seasoning. And I'm probably just gonna do maybe like half a teaspoon. And I'm going to give that a good stir. That looks so good. And then I'm going to add that Parmesan cheese. I'm just gonna let that melt into the pasta, into the sauce. Give it a nice stir. You can reserve some for the side as a topping. Let that cook for another minute or two. Well, here it is. Pasta Arrabiata. Looking good. I'm gonna get some Parmesan cheese and just sprinkle a little cheese on top. Just like that. Oh, that looks so good. Yum. I cannot wait to taste this. So I cannot wait to taste this. It looks so good. Smells fantastic. Oh, that's good. You can taste the garlic, the red pepper flakes. And we have a little bit with the meatball. Some good crusty Italian bread with it. Perfect meal. So good. I hope you enjoyed Happy Cooking with Yvonne Douglas today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe and like this video. And until next time, happy cooking. Bye-bye.